Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Fatima Hodge.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Brother David Hodge.
Welcome. All right, sisters and brothers. Our enemies has a plan for our nation's destruction. Their time is coming to an end, sisters and brothers. And they're doing everything that they can to take you down with them. So we have to understand that the times that we're living in, it's very dark because the enemy is doing everything in their power to make sure that you never rise, right? Keep you dead. And we have to understand that they started this and they've been doing it since we came here to America. They brought us here, right? You have to understand that these devils took us from our land, brought us to America, which is in fact hell for the black man and woman. America. You have to understand that hell, heaven, demons, devils, these things are not spooky, right? Well, I would say, they tell you that devils are in hell when you die, right? They tell you that when you go to heaven, right? It's all when you die, right? You have to understand that that is not true, sisters and brothers. And they're doing everything they can to keep us out of reality. You have to understand that hell is in fact a place, sisters and brothers. Heaven is in fact a place, sisters and brothers. Not somewhere you go when you die. This is the mindset that they have our people thinking in. So we make sure that we never have that vision, that the people are supposed to have, right? Because the people without a vision will in fact perish, sisters and brothers. So they've been working 24/7 to make sure that you never find out your vision. When they brought us here, they took our minds from us, stripped us of everything, wouldn't allow us to read, write, think, fed us out of pig troughs, fed us swine, shitlings, sisters and brothers. This is what we ate. This is what they did to our nation, sisters and brothers, to make sure that we never rise above their thinking level, right? Make sure that we stay a dead nation. On top of that, they raped the black woman, forced us to produce their children. They're identified as house Negroes. You had field Negroes, you had house Negroes. We were the field Negroes. The house Negroes were massacred children from rape of the black woman. Wolves in sheep's clothing. They look like us. They talk like us. But they were not us, sisters and brothers. They are masses children from the act of genocide that was committed against our nation in an attempt to wipe us out. Like in Exodus, it reads to kill all the male babies, spare the women, right? Why is that? Why did it say that? Because they wanted to get rid of that seed, sisters and brothers. And they knew that Messiah would be born from that seed as well. So they were doing everything in their power to get rid of that seed. But they were not successful in doing so, sisters and brothers. Which also highlights the strength of the black woman, because she in fact has to produce the children, right? And during that time, you weren't allowed to have relationships and mate with your own, because, like I shared, they were committing genocide on our nation. They had a plan. In order to execute that plan, there were rules, and you were not able to produce with your own, right? Because if we were, that means our nation would still be here today, right? But we did, sisters and brothers. That shows that the black woman is a warrior, because through all of that, she still produced with the black man, right? The original man, and produced our nation, because we're here today. Black man and woman of America, we have to understand that half of the blacks here are their children, and the other half are original, right? Which shows that the black woman continued to produce with the black man. So that means the act of genocide was not successful, sisters and brothers, because they wanted to wipe us out, right? Now we have to understand that, like I shared, they forced us to produce their children, right? And in results, we have a whole hybrid nation that is surrounding us today, right? Blacks that are in fact Caucasians and black skin. The angel reveals them as demons, half man, half devil. Sisters and brothers, we have to understand that we have a hidden enemy. Not only do we have an open enemy, we also have a hidden enemy. And this is one of their tactics as well, to corrupt our body. Sisters and brothers. So we have this nation, the blacks, that look like us, and we're looking up to them, right? These are the people that they have on their television. These are the people that they have as motivational speakers for the black man and woman, standing for the black man and woman, singing the music that you're listening to, etc. Sister and brother. They're black-faced children, right? They're the ones walking around looking like pimps and hoes, right? We have to understand that due to us being surrounded by them, we're acting just like them, right? Because we don't have anyone else to look up to, right? This is the only people that they put in our face, right? And this is all a tactic to corrupt our body, sisters and brothers. So now we're acting just like them. They're like cancer cells to our nation, sisters and brothers. Cancer cells resembles other cells, and eventually they corrupt the whole body, right? And that's exactly who they are. So it's important that we must never forget the true experience of black men and women here in America, because this is something that they do not highlight, they do not speak about. They speak about their history, tell you all about it. They don't tell you about what they did to the black man and woman. They only highlight the fact that we went through slavery, or just highlight the fact that our experience was a theory, meaning it could have happened, maybe. We know for a fact that our experience took place, sisters and brothers. And this is their attempt to hide who they truly are. Have us looking at them as angels. Keep that, in our minds, so we don't think anything else. Because if you were to understand the depths of what these people done to our nation, then you wouldn't want anything to do with them, sisters and brothers. They would look like monsters, as they are, sisters and brothers. Beast, wicked, separate us from our families, hung us, beat us, raped us, knocked our teeth out our mouths, sisters and brothers, burnt us alive, practiced on us without anesthesia, chopped our fingers off, sisters and brothers. This is the thing that these devils done to us, sisters and brothers. And the list goes on. Stumped our babies, threw our babies to alligators. They find out you had an original baby in their belly, they cut them out and kill it. Which is, I said, why the black woman is a warrior, because she made sure our nation thrived through the worst conditions, sisters and brothers, the worst conditions. This was the true experience of the black man and woman. Horror. Not just slavery. Slavery was just 1% of our experience, sister and brother. And here in Genesis chapter 15, it highlights that we would be enslaved and afflicted. And they don't tell you about the affliction part. They only highlight little things here they did because we were slaves, so we weren't obeying. They hung us. That's not all they did to us, sisters and brothers. They hadn't even touched the surface of what they did to us, sisters and brothers. Had us behind cages, gates. They coming out, looking at us as if we're animals in the zoo. Classified us as 3/5 of a human, saying we were animals, right? If we were animals, why would you work so hard to make sure these animals didn't read, write, think, right? 'Cause no matter what you do, an animal can't do those things, right? So that's not, you wouldn't put your energy towards it. So that alone shows that in fact was a lie. You're not animals, sisters and brothers. This is what, the enemy highlight you as animals. Treated you as animals, sisters and brothers. So that highlights the affliction that they put upon our nation, sisters and brothers. Now we have to understand that the scripture here in Genesis chapter 15 is highlighting the true experience of the black man and woman of America. God's people, right? And what they were experiencing. You have a lot of people claiming, right? This nation claiming to be who? God's people, right? But here it highlights exactly what God's people will experience, right? It said, lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also the nation whom they serve will I judge, right? So, sisters and brothers, we have to look at these details and, connect the dots to who this is actually identifying, right? Which is me and you, sisters and brothers. This is talking about what we experienced, right? For 400 years, right? Then it says afterwards, that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, right? And that's exactly what took place after the 400-year mark ended, 2019. 2020 came right in with their judgment. Sisters and brothers, that's when the judgment began, 2020. We are now living out the judgment right now, right? So we have to understand that this is identifying the true experience of the black man and woman of America, God's people, right? And no one else meets this description but us. It also shares that we be sojourners in a land that is not ours. We be sojourners, meaning temporarily, right? In a land that is not ours. And that's exactly what's taking place. We are here in a land that is not ours. And it says sojourners, meaning highlighting that we won't be here forever. Sisters and brothers. So they're telling you that heaven, the place where you go when you die, sisters and brothers. You have to understand that you're in hell. And heaven is the place that you're going. right? Which is here on earth as well, sisters and brothers. They're attempting to get you out of reality, sisters and brothers. So you never have that vision that your heaven is here, right? They're living out their heaven right now. This is the devil's heaven. This is your hell, right? Until we will come out with great substance, meaning we're leaving this land, sisters and brothers. But they make sure that you never want to get out of here, right? Keep that fear in your mind. Oh, I don't want to go anywhere else. America's the best place to be, right? Everywhere else is scary. This is they put things in certain movies. They put things in certain music. This is all to avoid you from fulfilling the Abrahamic covenant, sisters and brothers, which is in fact your vision, so that people without a vision will perish. This is why they gave this American dream that you're pushing, sisters and brothers. So you are having the mindset, like I just expressed, I don't want to go anywhere, right? So we have to understand the depths of these devils in their attempt to make sure that our nation never rises, right? Never wakes up from their slumber, sisters and brothers.
Exactly. That is their agenda, to wipe you out, like the sister shared. To make sure you're vigilant. Make sure you never wake up. Make sure you continue to push the dream. It's not real. It truly is a nightmare for you. Keep you pushing self-destruction to eliminate yourself. That way you'll never make it to heaven. Never make it home. You'll be in right? You'll be in self-destruct mode and perish, which is what they want. Which is why they never tell you about the covenant. Which is why they leave it out. The demons. They told us, don't speak about these things. Don't talk about it. Because in fact, your enemies want you eliminated. Want you exterminated. Wiped out. But it didn't work. You're still here. And you're close. Now, you're so ever close, brothers and sisters. You're so close to the finish line. Just a few steps away, brothers and sisters. You have a second option. You have a second option, which is going home. That's your second option. The Abraham covenant, which is this land that God said He'd give you for the 400 years of servitude and affliction. It says, in this day, God made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So between these two coordinates is the land that God promised us, brothers and sisters, which is Arabia, the best part of planet Earth. This is our reward for 400 years of hell. As the sister explained, you're in hell. Hell's no place when you go when you die. You're in hell. Literally. The devil's heaven is your hell. It's a place. It's a condition. It's a season. Which this season is coming to an end. Like the sister shared. The season's wrapping up. But they don't want it to end. They don't want hell to end. Because they are hell. So that means if the hell ends, that means they end. So they trying to keep hell going. They try to prevent you from getting to heaven because your heaven is their hell. That's their judgment. It means this is it. So they can't allow that. They can't allow your heaven to creep in. Because then now that means that they're under judgment. Now that means they have to face reality. That our hell, which is their heaven, is coming to an end. Which they so desperately love. Like I explained. They love hell. Because it's their heaven. They love how things are set up. They love this chaos. They love the system and how it runs. They're not in the favor of changing and switching things up. They don't want you to change nothing. They love how things are operating. It's set up and built just the way they like it. And you suffer. It's based off your suffering. Based off watching you be miserable. It's tailored to your misery. So they're not rooting for things to get better. They're rooting for them to get worse. They're the ones setting it up. You see? They need more police officers. They need more enforcement to make sure they terrorize and torture you because it's all set up for you. They need more jails. They need more prisons. They need you to commit more crimes. They need to take more stuff out your communities that cause you to commit more crimes. They need to put more drugs, more guns, more destruction, more things set up to make sure you destroy yourself. More abortion clinics to make sure you kill your babies. You see? Prison, depopulation. You can't reproduce in jail. Everything they have set up is just the way they love it. And it's all set up to destroy you. Oh, man. That's too good to be true. Well, whether you believe it or not, that's what it is. They're out to destroy you, brothers and sisters, in a way that you don't see coming. That's what they've been doing with us. They've been dealing with us shrewdly. They fear we multiply. That we'll lead this land, join their enemies in war, and fight against them. That's what they said. So that's why they do what they do to you. Because they fear that consequence. They fear the judgment that comes with the treatment of the black man and woman of America. The original black man and woman of America. God's people. You see? So, as they continue to try to eliminate you, they're going to move out on their plan to eliminate you soon in a way that you do see coming. You see, because right now, they're trying to keep that image. As the sisters explain, well, why don't they tell you what's going on? Why don't they tell you what they're doing? Why don't they tell you who they are? Why don't they tell you about their rap sheet? Why don't they tell you that they are rapists, murderers, pedophiles, monsters, beasts. Why they tell you who they really are? You see? Oh, because they're trying to protect that pristine image that they got, that they're beautiful people, angels, dolls. You see? They're sweet individuals who help and give charity and love people and help those in need. Same ones took them niggas out of the jungle and brought them here to America and raped and murdered them. You see? But they're not going to tell you that part, that they are killing children. They're raping children, forcing women and children to have their children, to produce their black-faced children. I'm not going to tell you that part. They was chopping up babies and feeding them to gators. I'm not going to tell you that. Cutting off our heads, playing nigga ball. The same sports you love today, they were playing with you. With cutting off your limbs and playing with you. Making these games of you. Using you as pet zoos. Using you as their entertainment. Watching you burn alive. Watch you swing from trees. You see? But as I explain here in a minute, their hands gonna be forced to make a move. Why? Because the same very people that they utilize to steal your identity, they're about to be eliminated. False Israel, the ones that they set up to counter our claim as being the true seed of Abraham, same ones that they was burning up for betraying their country. You see, they was getting rid of them. Hitler, Germany, they betrayed their country. They made them lose that war. And everybody know what happens to traitors. You eliminate them. That's what was happening. They was burning them up. Concentration camps. Smoke chambers, gas chambers. Getting rid of them. Until they found out who we were. The moment they did that, they stopped doing that. Lifted them up, put them up in their land. Right here. They didn't put them in this one. But I'm saying, God's people supposed to be in the land, right? So they put them in Palestine. But like Sister said, they don't even fit the description. They don't even fit the description of Palestine. They don't fit the description of the covenant. They're in the wrong land. Said they'll be in Arabia, but they're sitting in Palestine. Said they'd be in a foreign land, but they said they was the Egyptians that came out of Egypt, but they went straight next door to Palestine, which don't make sense because that's not foreign, that's not strange, that's next door. Said they was never in bondage to any man, but it says true to Abraham will go through 400 years. They never went through 400 years of nothing. The Holocaust was less than 10 years, and that was for their own betrayal, for their country, something that they deserved. You see? They said they'd be in peace, and they're not. So it's obvious that they don't fit the description of being who they claim to be. It said that it said that Satan was masqueraded as an angel of light. That he was pretending to be something he wasn't. And why you call him Satan? Satan is in hell, right? Some demon dog with a pitchfork and horns, right? See, that's that imaginary fairy tale crap. Psychologically terrorizing you with painting a vivid picture that they want you to continue to believe is real, to terrorize you. But the scripture tell you exactly who Satan is. Tell you it's false Israel. If you read between the lines, it tells you right here. In the Injil, Revelations, chapters 2 and 3, verse 9, both chapters, says, look, I am giving out of the synagogue of the Satan, of the ones saying themselves Jews to to be, and not they are, but they are lying. Right? It says in the blasphemy, which is a lie, are the ones saying what? Jews to be themselves, and not they are, but synagogue of the Satan. So it's clear. It's telling you exactly who they are. It's Satan. The ones who have synagogues. Aren't they the ones who have synagogues? They said synagogue of Satan. Satan. Say, aren't they the ones who say they're Jews? They're the Jewish people, right? Satan. They're the ones who, he said, the ones who say themselves Jews, they're lying. Lying about what? They're lying because they're implying that they're Judah, which is an original tribe, which the line, the original people come out of that tribe. You got God, the Lamb of God, the Message of the Covenant. You got original people coming from that tribe, and they're claiming to be from that tribe. They're claiming to be Judah. They don't call themselves Judah. They call themselves Jews, which is slang, a term that they use implying that they're Judah. But they're not. They're lying. Said that they're Satan. You see? Said that their father's the devil. Said that their ways are not of the Father. You see? That God had nothing to do with them. That they were totally against him and his people, which is going to be made manifest once they eliminate it. You see? Once they eliminate it, which that's another indication that they're not who they claim to be, because it said when God placed them in their land, they are not to be uprooted or removed. That's an abomination. That's not supposed to happen. That's red flags. That's explosions. You see? Now, that means that them niggas, they're the true seed of Abraham. Right. And it said, curse those who curse God's people. So they've been blessing God's people. Boom. Shock of the hour. You see? There it is. It said men's hearts will be failing them. Heart attacks. Means of men's hearts will be failing them from fear. Because now they're in trouble. You see? Now it's time for judgment. Now it's time for the real awakening. See? Now they're faced with the mirror and they see how hideous they are. And that they're not beautiful people, angels. They're devils, beasts, monsters. And they're in trouble with God and his people. It says that they cursed.
Exactly, sisters and brothers. So we have to understand that those who curse God's people, right, they will be cursed. And those who bless him will be blessed. And this whole world has the idea that false Israel is in fact God's people. So they think that they're blessing God's people. But once false Israel goes down, as Brother David shared, that lie is going to be crumbled, right? And the scriptures identify that they will also be destroyed, sisters and brothers. And here in the scripture identifies that men's hearts will be failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, meaning this event hadn't taken place yet, right? And this is how what will be taking place, right? It said men's hearts will be failing them for fear, sisters and brothers. So imagine this is just a thought of finding out false Israel is going to go down, right? That means that who have they been blessing? Because he said God's people wouldn't be uprooted, right? But they're in fact about to be destroyed and uprooted, right? So that alone is going to bring shock to the whole planet. You see, their hearts will be failing them for fear because what does this mean for us? Who have we been blessing? Who has been being cursed? Right? Which is you and I, sisters and brothers, the black men and women of America. we are those who they've been cursing, right? And that means that, they will surely be cursed, right? And that realization is going to come through their mind. And it's going to cause their hearts to fail from fear for what's to come, sisters and brothers. And they're going to do everything they can to take you out, sisters and brothers. Get rid of that evidence, because we are in fact that evidence, sisters and brothers, of their crime. And everything that they have in place is to get rid of that evidence, sisters and brothers. Make sure you don't have any jobs to work. Make sure that, you're distracted 24/7, working, taking your children to school, sports. They make sure that they keep your agenda nice and wrapped up so that you never find out who you truly are, sisters and brothers, in your vision. That you never have time in grace period to even think and ask any questions, sisters and brothers, because they want to make sure that you never rise, sisters and brothers. So they have been planning to make sure that they destroy that evidence, sisters and brothers. Right? They're replacing your jobs with AI. The only job that we do have, because they gave away the other jobs we qualified for. This is all to keep our nation down, sisters and brothers. All these things, like your brother said, this whole system was wrapped around destroying the black man and woman of America, right? God's people, because of why? We are that next. We got to understand that the time that's coming in, we rule that time, right? And we have to understand that these people are fighting for their time to continue, right? Which is why, they don't give you your vision. Because if they gave you your vision, then you would be fulfilling that, making sure that happens, right? So they made sure that you never had it, never found out what it was, and they gave it to others to make sure that you never had that vision. So you never fulfill the Abrahamic covenant, sisters and brothers. And we have to understand that history is written approximately every 24 to 25,000 years, right? And it's broken into 6,000 years each period. And each period is sisters and brothers, is a excuse me, sisters and brothers, is a
No, it's broken season.
It's season. There you go. Each period, 6,000 years period, is a season, right? And that will give you 4 seasons, sisters and brothers. So we have winter, spring, summer, and fall, right? That's 4 seasons, 6,000 years apiece. Brings you approximately 24 to 25,000 years, right? So we have to understand that we're coming out of the worst winter ever. This is the winter that you're living in today, right now, sisters and brothers. It's the worst winter because we suffer from energy deprivation, sisters and brothers. So we have to understand that the winter people are these devils, sisters and brothers. And this whole reality was built off of their mind, sisters and brothers. Which is why they rule during this time. Because this is their time. This is their season. But as you know, you cannot stop nature. You cannot stop how the universe works. Sisters and brothers, you cannot stop a next season from coming in. And that's what these devils are attempting to do, sisters and brothers. Stop the spring from coming in, right? Because winter, every season has their ending. And the winter is now coming to an end. right? So you no longer need that big old coat that you had on anymore. No longer need those gloves, those earmuffs, right? All the rules of the winter is coming to an end, right? Now it's time to find out what are the rules for the spring because that's the next season that's approaching us, sisters and brothers. And this is what they've prevented you from finding out, right? So they're attempting to prevent you from finding out. Because why? You are, in fact, the spring people, right? And the spring is, in fact, your heaven, sisters and brothers. Just like the winter is their heaven, spring is ours, sisters and brothers. Winter is our hell. Spring is their hell. So do you think that they want spring to come in? Sisters and brothers, you gotta think about this. They don't want spring to come in. I mean, their hell is coming, right? So they're doing everything that they can to keep the winter going, sisters and brothers. But they can't stop. Like I said, they can't stop the universe, how things work, sisters and brothers. Seasons. They can't stop that. We have to understand that this is why they fear global warming, sisters and brothers. Because you got to understand, anything warm in the winter melts things, right? That means things are now the winter is melting. That's hurting the winter people. That's hurting the winter, right? Heaven. Anything hot, right? So yes, they fear global warming, but that's nothing for us to fear, sisters and brothers, because that is a sign of our time, our heaven approaching, right? And they made sure that you never knew your vision, sisters and brothers, because your vision is the spring, right? The Abrahamic covenant, right? And it's now time to put down those winter weapons and pick up the spring, right? The mindset of the winter, it will no longer thrive in the spring, right? So anyone with that winter mindset will not survive in the spring. So they make sure that you never, ever rise, right? They make sure that your level of thinking stays beneath theirs, right? So that you never rise above their thinking level, which is the winter, sisters and brothers, right? They don't want you. They don't want their heaven. They don't want right. They don't want their heaven to end, and they don't want their hell to begin, sisters and brothers. And you're in charge of their hell beginning, because you are in fact the spring people who's gonna rule in the springtime, right? So they've done everything they can to destroy the minds of the people of the spring, right? They've done everything in their power to do that. So you're not prepared, right, to move forward. But this is why it's important for our God to step in, intervene, take down false Israel, who's the God of this world, controlling, holding the black man and woman down, controlling his whole reality. It's brother, this whole American dream. It's going to put it to an end, sisters and brothers. No more sports, sisters and brothers. No more movies. No more distractions. No more going back and forth to the plantation. No more focus on getting your children to these school systems that they're in control of. Sisters and brothers, no more of that. All that's going to come to a screeching halt And our God is going to make sure that that's done. So our nation is not destroyed, sisters and brothers. And that alone is going to give our nation time to rise, sisters and brothers, right? Because we're going to no longer be distracted, right? We're no longer going to be, in that condition, because we understand the reason why they're able to keep us in this mindset, in this condition, because they keeping these things going 24/7. No more social media, sisters and brothers. It's going to be a total economic collapse here when this event happens. So you're not going to have any choice but to think, survive, sisters and brothers. And we have to understand that during this time, we will have food, but they won't. This is the time of their hell beginning, sisters and brothers, because their reality is coming to an end. Like I said, their hearts are going to be failing them for fear of what's to come, right? That wasn't supposed to happen. Over there in Falls Israel, they weren't supposed to go down like that. On top of them being involved with America, Britain, they all are tied together. So that means what's to come here, brothers? Like I said, total economic collapse. Never. Unprecedented times. This has never happened in America, ever. A total economic collapse? What? You understand what that includes? Meaning there's no more oil, fuel coming in and out of here? And that's what keeps this reality thriving? That's the bloodline of this reality? This is the Industrial Revolution. You need oil. Transportation, sisters and brothers. For your weapons, sisters and brothers. Gas. Lights. All these things. Air, heat. All these things involves that oil, sisters and brothers. Whether you know it or not, you need it. They need it for their reality to thrive. You need it. This is the Industrial Revolution. It's what was given to them for their reality to thrive. And they will no longer have that. Sisters and brothers. So we have to understand the times that are approaching us. A time like no other, a time that we've never experienced. None of us. No one. Unprecedented. Sisters and brothers, the time that we're about to see is unprecedented. It's never happened. Worst time in history. Sisters and brothers. Literally. They have nothing. They've never went without any food. So the brother said, not only on top of it being an economic collapse, it's going to be a famine. They never went without eating. Never. 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 Worse than the Great Depression. Worse than all these things that they've experienced. They've never experienced a total economic collapse. No food. Sisters and brothers, they never experienced this. So just imagine the time that you're about to see. Sisters and brothers, that's why it identified, that last book that we're living out today as the Apocalypse. Right? Because that was the original name. That was the original name of the last book, the Bible, which is now identified as Revelations, which is the Injil. Sisters and brothers, Gospel, right? It was identified as the Apocalypse, though. Why'd they change that? They couldn't have people, they had to change that for the minds of the people, right? That was just too gruesome. That was just too vivid of a name, right? And the thing is that they changed it because you got to understand that they make sure that you don't know that you're living out these scriptures, right? They tell you, like I said, they got your mind thinking backwards, sisters and brothers. They make sure that you're in the unknown 100%. down to the scriptures, sisters and brothers. They tell you that they're all past tense, but they're reading them as guidance, right? But they tell you it's past tense, right? But no, you're living out the scriptures, sisters and brothers. And you're living it out, the last book of the Bible, sisters and brothers. That's what you're in, right? You have to understand that we're living out these scriptures, sisters and brothers. And the scripture highlights exactly what you would experience and see during this time. You have the Son of Man, the messenger of the covenant, sisters and brothers, who had broken the 7 seals of that last book, right? Again, Jew. Expose the true meaning of the scriptures, right? Because they don't even know the true meaning of the scriptures, sisters and brothers. There'll be one that will be able to do that. And that was that seed that they tried to kill, right? Sisters and brothers, get rid of the Messiah. Why they say kill all the male babies, right? Because they knew that Messiah would be born from that seed. But they were not successful in doing that, sisters and brothers. And he had exposed the true meaning of these scriptures, sisters and brothers. Who demons are, who the angels are, exposed all these things to us, sisters and brothers, that we didn't know, right? Who Satan is, false Israel, all these things were exposed from the true meaning of the scriptures, sisters and brothers. Revelations. So we have to understand that we're living out Revelations, right? And we have to understand the time that we're approaching is unprecedented. And it says that false Israel will be destroyed. America's going to go through total economic collapse, famine, all these things. The list goes on, sisters and brothers. We have to understand the depths of these devils, and we're about to see them in their true light. It's important for us to see them in their true light. That's why I say experience is the best teacher, because we need to see this in HD, sisters and brothers. You will, because you're going to be right here. Your only protection, our only protection, sisters and brothers, is our unity. Hajj, us coming together as one body. That's another thing that they mess your minds up from as well. Understanding that you're one body, right? They're moving as one body. That's why they're successful, right, in their reality. But they have us all separate, thinking that, I got this, forget you, or, I'm not help, This is a mindset that they have us forget my leg, I don't need my leg, forget my foot, it don't matter. As long as I got my hand, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? This is how they think. You got to understand that if you're one body, every part of that body matters, right? Every single part. And not one part of the body is better than the other, because without those pieces, the body will not be complete. The body's going to be hurting, right? So we have to understand that we're all one body. And we're all different pieces of this body, right? But we all are one body. We need each other in order to operate and function properly, right? And that is our only way, sisters and brothers, that we will be successful during this time. Sisters and brothers, excuse me. Through our nature, the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, sisters and brothers. You have to understand you're now coming into the spring, right? So this is what you have to do to be successful in the spring, right? Your nature, sisters and brothers, right? Discipline, sisters and brothers. Eating 1 meal a day, sisters and brothers. Reciting, sisters and brothers. Understanding the consequence, sisters and brothers. This is the rules of the spring, right? You didn't have to worry about that in the winter, right? They gave you the winter mind. Smoke, drink, party, 24/7, right? No discipline. This is the mind of the winter people, though, right? Right? You have to understand that they have good luck as well during their time. So, it looks as if they were, doing great things, but they just really had good luck, right? Let's get back to what I was saying. The point is that we are going to have to come together as that one body, sisters and brothers. That will be our protection during this time. Unprecedented trouble, sisters and brothers. On top of doing that, we're going to have to get our minds back. Because the devil took it from us, sisters and brothers. And we have to rise above their mind, their level of thinking, in order to be successful. And that standard is understanding these books that's within the Injil that was given to our nation to upload, right? So these are things that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to achieve in order to get out of here. But like I said, we're going to see these people in HD. Experience is the best teacher. You're about to see these devils in full action. You're about to see these devils in a light that they haven't even seen themselves in. Because like I said, this is unprecedented times. Sisters and brothers, they're going to be doing unprecedented things. Eating their children. Eating each other. Sisters and brothers. How much worse can it get from there? Cannibalism. How much worse can the reality be? How much worse, you know what I'm saying? What else? You know what I'm saying? They're literally going to be eating each other. And they put you in that Constitution at 3/5 of human for a reason. Because like I said, they read the Bible as a guidance, which is what it is. So they read these scriptures here. That it says right here in Deuteronomy that a woman, her placenta, which comes out from between her feet and her children whom she bears, for she will eat them secretly for the lack of everything in the siege and desperation. Sisters and brothers, they read these things. It says, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and their flesh of their daughters, and everyone shall eat their flesh of their friend in the siege, and in desperation with which their enemies and those who seek their lives shall drive them to despair. No hope. They're going to seek in their life. No hope, brothers. You have to understand that they read these scriptures and they prepare for this. They as much as they could. They put you in the scripture at 3/5 of a human. Excuse me, they put you in the Constitution at 3/5 of a human. So they can classify you as food. They're not welcoming you into these white communities for nothing. Having you as their neighbor for nothing. Befriending you for nothing. They're preparing to have you on their dinner plate, their dinner table. Sisters and brothers, this is what the enemy has prepared for you. And before they eat their own, they're going to definitely attack you, sisters and brothers, which is why the scripture tells you to flee. Get out of here. Flee. That's why our vision is complete separation, sisters and brothers. So you'd be a fool to stay in the land of your imprisonment, sisters and brothers. You'd be a fool. Your vision, that's why your vision is the Abrahamic covenant, which is getting out of here, right? And we have to understand these demons, they're devil children, they're going to want to stay here. And the scripture tells you in Revelation, the unsealed scriptures, tells you that America's going to be destroyed as well. So while they're trying to work up, take over America, all these things during this time, uniting, because we're going to unite as well. And they're going to unite, right, demons? And they're going to be trying to take over America. So it's important for us to listen to that song that's being sung. I mean, what's coming out of the mouths. Because we look alike, but we do not have that same vision. And their vision is to stay here in a land that's about to be destroyed, sisters and brothers, in hell. Stay here. But our vision to get out of here. The Abrahamic covenant. And that is a vision that you need to be following, sisters and brothers. Actually fulfilling, sisters and brothers. We don't want you following, fulfilling, sisters and brothers, with us. Right? That is that vision that is that song that you want to hear and constantly listen to on repeat. The Abrahamic covenant, right? Getting out of here. This is your true light right here. This is the true beacon light, right? Not these pastors and preachers out here who are their devil children, demon children, lying to you. Listen, brothers, lying to you. Making sure that you perish. Because it said, our people will perish due to the lack of knowledge. And a lot of our people will because of these damn devil, demon children. Making sure that you never rise, sisters and brothers. Stealing from you, robbing you, sisters and brothers. Claiming to be lights for you. But they've been deceiving you. And now that you lack that knowledge, you're going to be destroyed. Imagine the minds of our people who has done all type of things under that cross, under Christianity, sisters and brothers. The wrath of those people. It said, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes if they were made out of gold, sisters and brothers, during this time. Because people are not going to be playing. Anger, unprecedented time, sisters and brothers, all I can say. Unprecedented time. It's time like no other. It's really nothing, really not a way that you can really explain this because we've not experienced it. None of us has experienced this. We can only give you an idea, We're not prepared for this day. So, you got to understand that we don't understand how serious this day is going to be, which is why we're preparing our people right now, letting you know that this is what's to come, sisters and brothers. This is about to happen. So we save as many of our people as we can, sisters and brothers. This is the true beacon lights that you are going to be looking for in this time of darkness. Brother Dave, you have anything else to say?
Mm-hmm.
All right, sisters and brothers, with that, we'll be back with more. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.